Welcome back, friends. Now, the next piece of news which we are going to pick up is PM Daksh program. This is basically a program of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and according to the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, about 5 lakh people got benefits under the PM Daksh program. Now, what is this PM Daksh program? We need to know that. प्रधानमंत्री दक्षता और कौशलता संपन्न हितग्राही. कौशलता, wherever this word is used, you can consider that it is with respect to skills, and it was launched by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in 2020-21. Now we also have a ministry with respect to skill development, but that ministry is not implementing it. Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is implementing it. So here is the catch. This scheme is basically for the marginalized sections of the society. Who are the marginalized sections of the society? We'll just see. It is a national action plan for skilling marginalized persons covering scheduled castes, OBCs, EBCs, DNTs. EBC stands for educationally backward classes, DNTs stands for denotified tribes. Now the concept of denotified tribes, basically when the Britishers were here, the tribal people used to live in the jungles, and the Britishers wanted to extract timber from the jungles, they wanted to extract wood, and they wanted to extract other, I would say, resources of the jungles also, but the tribals were living on those resources, so it was difficult for the Britishers to extract. So they passed a law in which they notified these tribal people as criminals. This law was passed, I think, in the 19th century, and those tribal people who were part of that particular law were called as notified tribes, and those tribal people were called as criminals for no reason. Just there was this inherent reason that the Britishers wanted to, exploit the resources of the jungles. But when we got independence in 1947 and 1952, we passed a law, and we denotified those tribes which were earlier notified as criminals. We denotified those tribes. Those were called as denotified tribes. And these tribal people, the denotified tribes, these are nomadic tribes, semi-nomadic tribes. Nomadic means those who are roaming around, they do not have a stable habitat where they live. So these are this is the concept of denotified tribes. Those denotified tribes are also included in this. And what has to be done of these marginalized sections? The skill has to be enhanced. The skill development is one of the major aspects of the economy these days. If skill development, if the people are not having skills, they will not be employable, they will not be producing that much output, and they will not be contributing in the economy of the country. Do you know that India has the maximum population in the working age group? Working age group is largely considered from, I would say, 15 to 59. In this particular age group, India has around 67 to 68% of its population, and that is the highest in the world. And we need to take benefit from the maximum from this population in the working age group. Those who are literate, those who have studied, those who have got professional degrees, they get employed in multinational companies, or they aspire for civil services just like you. I was also one a few years back. You have got that, obviously that intellect is there with you, so you will do something for yourself. But many people who are not literate, who have no skills at all, how will they do? Now for them, the skill development program of India is there, and multiple programs are there with respect to skill development, and this is one such program, PM Daksh, which is focusing on the skill development of the people in the marginalized sections of the society, the scheduled caste, the denotified tribes, the educationally weaker sections or the educationally backward sections of the society. And there is a term called as demographic dividend. Dividend stands for profit. Demography is related to population. Demography is the scientific or systematic study of the population. Now, what is this demographic dividend? The profit coming out of the population. And when this profit will be maximum? When the maximum amount of population will be there in the working age group, that population will be working, doing some economic activity. Then we will be able to reap demographic dividend. Demographic dividend does not mean having maximum population in the working age group. That is a precondition for demographic dividend to happen. It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that if there is this maximum population in the working age group, that population gets ample working or ample employment opportunities or ample opportunities to contribute in the economic activity, then only demographic dividend will be reaped. Else, if this setup is not provided to the working age population, it will turn into a demographic disaster, because this is all young age population, and if young age population is not getting ample employment opportunities, ample economic activity opportunities, this young population has a tendency to adopt crime as well. And that is why the government is focusing very much on skill development programs. Chalo, if you are not educated, if you do not have a professional degree, you develop some skills कि आपका घर चलता रहे. Develop some skills like electrician you become a plumber, you become a RO service boy, mobile repairing you learn. These are some of the skills which you can learn, and these skills will give you your rosy roti and nothing to do with your education. These skills have nothing to do. So, this is the importance of skill development and why the government is focusing so much. So, this is basically a skill development program for the marginalized sections of the society. What are the objectives of the program? The main objective of PM-DARD Yojana is to increase the skill levels of target youth by providing them short-term and long-term skills, followed by assistance in wage self-employment. It will also give them, opportunities for if they want to get employed somewhere after the completion of the skill development course, they can be employed somewhere, or if they want to open their own, I would say, venture, chota mota dukaan, if someone wants to open, then the government will provide loans to them. PM Mudra is there, a loan facility for the entrepreneurs. So, likewise the government is supporting. Now, target groups, it aims to improve all round competency of 2.7 lakh persons over the next 5 years. 0.5 lakh youth means 50,000 youth in the first year, that is 2021-22, from the following sections of the target group. These are the target groups. Artisans, basically these are those people who do some art and craft or weaving and all. Okay. But artisans belonging to the marginalized sections of the society. Women belonging to marginalized sections of the society. Youth belonging to the marginalized sections of the society. All these three will be the target groups of the marginalized sections of the society where skill development will be sought. Eligibility, who are eligible to take benefits under PM-DARD, age group 18 to 45 years belonging to any of the following categories can apply. Persons belonging to scheduled castes, OBCs, economically backward classes having annual family income below rupees 1 lakh, denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic tribes, Safai Karamcharis including waste pickers and their dependents. These are the categories of people who can be benefited. Now, the next piece of news, rhino and elephant conservation. Indian rhinos are basically found majorly in Assam, the Kaziranga National Park, and this topic basically discusses the effectivity of our rhino conservation and elephant conservation programs. Are they effective? Are they not? This is an editorial analysis, and you might get some good information also from this section. Now, rhinoceros, we'll first pick up rhinoceros. This is I would say a herbivorous animal. Herbivorous, it does not feed on other animals, it is not carnivorous, it is herbivorous. This is a fact about rhinoceros. And people used to poach means kill the rhinoceros, because they had this one horn. They are called as one horned rhinoceros. For that horn, that got sold, and that was precious in the international market. Like the elephants, they have tusks, the female elephants, white teeth, that is considered precious. These rhinoceros have this one horn, and poachers used to poach it, and mostly these elephants are found in the Kaziranga National Park, Assam, and nearby we have Myanmar. Myanmar is basically very easy access to Myanmar, so illegally these goods were smuggled over there. So have our conservation efforts been good or not? This is what we are going to assess. Greens worldwide call the Kaziranga National Park the greatest conservation success story in 2005, when it completed a century. Actually, in 1905, the Britishers termed Kaziranga as a protected area. The concept of national park, the word national park was not there, but it was termed as a protected area, and in 2005 it completed a century. Now, when in 1905, when it was termed as a protected area, almost a dozen population of rhinoceros was there, but now 2022, it is more than 2000. It is somewhere around 2200, something like that. We will see the figure abhi. Okay. So definitely the population has gone up many folds, so it can be considered as a success story, and this Greens worldwide is also saying the same. Much of it is attributed to the Rhino Protection Force. Rhino Protection Force is a manned force which is deployed in the jungles to shoot the poachers. The poachers means the hunters who are killing the rhinoceros. Then and there is an order to kill those poachers. So this is the Rhino Protection Force that shoots alleged poachers at sight. More than 55 armed men have been killed within the boundary of 1300 square kilometer, and this particular Kaziranga National Park has also been named as a tiger reserve, because there is considerable amount of population of tigers also. But let's see about Kaziranga National Park. Is located on the edge of eastern Himalayan biodiversity hotspot, Golaghat and Nagaon district of Assam. It became a protected area in 1905. In the year 1985, the park was declared as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Flora, if I talk about the flora means the paid paudhe and all. Okay. Due to the difference in altitude between eastern and western areas of the park, there are 4 types of vegetations found in this park. First is alluvial inundated grasslands. This is because of the Brahmaputra river. Then alluvial savanna woodlands. Savannas are basically transition zones from deserts to I would say rainforests. Tropical moist mixed deciduous forests are also found, and tropical semi evergreen forests are found. So these are the 4 types of vegetations found in the Kaziranga National Park. Then fauna, if I talk about, means the animals and all, animals, microbes and all. The forest region of Kaziranga Park is home to the world's largest population of Indian rhinoceros, one-horned rhinoceros also it is called. Other animals can be seen in the elephant grass, marshlands and dense tropical moist broadleaf forest of Kaziranga. Other animals are hoolock gibbon, tiger, leopard, Indian elephant, sloth bear, wild water buffalo, swamp deer, etc. With increase in tiger population every year, Kaziranga was declared as a tiger reserve also in the year 2006. Okay, it is a national park as well as a tiger reserve. It is for rhino. It is known for rhinoceros population, and it is also known as a tiger reserve. Also here one can find good number of migratory bird species from Central Asia. In fact, the population density of tigers in the Kaziranga National Park was at one point of time the highest in India. The rhinos in Kaziranga, if I talk about them, okay. Rhino population, the population of one horned rhino was about a dozen when Kaziranga became a protected area in 1905. According to the State of Rhino Report 2022, the poor sighted herbivores number in Kaziranga is estimated 2613. I was saying 2200, but it is 2613. More than 65% of its total population of 4014 across 11 habitats in India and Nepal. Its total population in the world is 4114, and out of which 2600 are found in Kaziranga only. Focus on rhino has made other animals in its domains a beneficiary. For example, the tiger, because it is a protected area, conservation efforts are maximum over there. And in 2010, Kaziranga has the highest density of tigers, that is 32.64 per 100 square kilometers in the world. Okay. So the number of tigers has increased in Assam at a rate higher than elsewhere in India. So it is about tiger conservation also, because along with rhinos, other species also got conserved and their population started increasing. Now threats to rhinos, if I talk about the threats to rhinos, first is poaching. Poaching means hunting, killing, and the second is alien invasive plant species. Now what is this alien invasive plant species? Plant species, see, rhinos are basically herbivores. Okay, it is clearly mentioned that it is a herbivore. So it feeds on grass, but if a variety of grass which is not endemic to that region, endemic means which is not which does not grow in that region, but due to any factor, it starts growing in that region, that will be an alien species in that region. And because certain factors like natural factors like pollination and all are there, due to which the other varieties of grass can start growing, or some factors like man-made factors, if humans have purposely planted that kind of grass over there in that region which is not endemic to that region, can be called as an alien species of grass, because that is not endemic to that region. But the term is alien invasive species. Invasive means if that species which is not endemic to that region, that is grown in that region, and by growing that alien species in that region, it harms the local ecology of that region, then ecological diversity of that region will start to come down. It has invaded that region, an alien species of grass which has invaded that region, and this happens naturally also. It can happen by humans also. Like for example, if I talk about eucalyptus trees, it was thought that we'll plant some eucalyptus trees in India, because we saw the success story of Australia of eucalyptus trees. We planted eucalyptus trees in India at length, but those eucalyptus trees wanted a lot of water. They started sucking a lot of water, and which lowered the water table. That eucalyptus tree was also considered as an invasive species, because that eucalyptus tree grew, but at the cost of the other ecological diversity in that region, which came down because water availability was not there. Okay. So that is an alien invasive plant species. These are some threats to rhinoceros. Then what are the steps which have been taken? More manpower, capacity building, equipping forest guards with better equipments and all this can be done. Okay. Then the sentiments of local people attached to the rhino have also been a factor in the sharp drop in number of rhinos killed. There were 54 rhinos which got killed in 2013 and 14 to 1 rhino each killed in 2021 and 2022. This is, a very big achievement. Okay. So this is about rhinos. Now when I talk about elephant conservation, status of elephants in India, India is home to nearly 60% of Asian elephants, and the last count of species in 2017 had put the elephants to 29,964, almost 30,000. The elephant population is not evenly distributed in the country. It is not evenly distributed means southern states of Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu are home to nearly 44% of India's elephants. And while the number of elephants in India has increased in the past few years, the species is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List of threatened species and Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Threats for elephants. What are the threats for elephants? The largest land dwelling mammal, elephant is under continuous threat of poaching. Why? Because for elephant tusks, ivory and conflict with humans. While incidents of poaching for ivory have gone down, human elephant conflicts have increased. On an average, about 500 humans and 100 elephants are killed every year across the country in such conflicts or in such confrontations. The change of land use, particularly beginning erstwhile forested areas under agriculture, has aggravated the conflict. Basically, the land use has changed, and earlier those were forest areas, now they are used for agriculture or for other commercial activities in which the elephants they come in those areas and then conflict happens. Fragmentation of elephant habitats has also been done by linear infrastructure projects like railway lines and roads, due to which elephants come on these railway lines or those roads. You might have seen multiple elephants being killed by multiple trains in the country. So those are linear projects which span across the elephant habitats. They are not so intelligent that they will not know that train is coming or something like that, that they'll just pass by, and in the time of passing by, if they come across or meet with an accident, they die. So that is basically a concern with respect to elephants. The steps taken by the government with respect to elephant conservation. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change launched Project Elephant in 1992 to ensure the long term survival of elephants in their natural habitat. Like we have Project Tiger, we have Project Elephant, which was launched in 1992. The number of elephant reserves in India is 32 now, with the latest addition being Agastyamalai Elephant Reserve in 2022. This year only the 32nd elephant reserve was notified. Elephant corridors, linear narrow habitat linkages which allow elephants to move between secure habitats, are crucial for conservation, and so far about 101 elephant corridors have been identified in the country which need to be secured for elephants, for conservation of elephants. Nothing has been done, but on these corridors they have only been identified till then. Okay. So this is all about elephant conservation. Now, drones from Pakistan. This is also a growing concern. Drones from Pakistan. Actually, in the Amritsar sector, many drones have been caught by the BSF. Border Security Force is a force which is guarding the India-Pakistan and India-Bangladesh border. And these Pakistanis use these drones either to deliver drugs, or at times to deliver arms, at times to do surveillance. So that is problematic for India. Can we do something about it? Yes, we can do something about it. We have to catch these drones, or we have to monitor these drones from naked eye. There is no the radars and all, they are not well equipped to intercept the drones. The radars may misinterpret the birds also as drones, because if you might have seen that movie Uri, In that we used an unarmed aerial vehicle that was in the form of a bird, the Garud. So that is also a problem. But we are developing, we have tested multiple techniques, we will be discussing those techniques. But incidents of drones which are being captured by India's BSF is increasing, and the maximum drones have been caught in the Amritsar sector. So let us look into this piece of news. Most cases of violation of international border by drones originating from Pakistan in the past 1 year have taken place in the Amritsar sector of the Border Security Force. This was revealed by the data accessed by a leading newspaper from the security agencies in India. Like for example, in Amritsar, 90 cases has been there, drone sightings along India-Pak border, Firozpur 51, Gurdaspur 42, Abohar 15 and others 1. Drones recovered by BSF, 14 in total have been recovered by BSF till now, and 7 in Amritsar have been recovered, 4 in Firozpur, 2 in Gurdaspur and 1 in Abohar. And other recoveries, heroin not the Bollywood heroin but it is a drug, arms, heroin 300 kgs, arms 44, magazines 81, RDX 4 kgs, detonators, ammunitions, all have been recovered. See, this huge a drone is, okay, and this drone is capable of carrying various arms and ammunitions also, it is capable of carrying drugs also, and Punjab, the drugs and all is quite common. You might have seen that movie Udta Punjab. Now, when I talk about the threats to India's internal security from drones, what threats can drones pose to India's internal security? First is transfer of weaponry to terrorists. Yes, definitely, when we are recovering RDX, when we are recovering magazines. So definitely drones can be used for supplying of arms, and these drones carry these arms, drop these arms in an agricultural field and go back. Then those terrorists go recover those arms from the field and they use those arms. This is the way they do. That is a threat. Then attack on critical infrastructure. Basically, critical infrastructure is that infrastructure which is very critical for the functioning of the economy. Like for example, if I talk about electricity supply, it is considered as a critical infrastructure, because if these drones attack the electricity supply grids, then there will be a failure of electricity. Failure of electricity will lead to multiple sectors failure, like the banking sector will stop, let's suppose the army and all the BSF has deployed surveillance mechanisms which run on electricity, that will stop. So that is a threat on critical infrastructure. Intelligence gathering, these drones do surveillance and all, come and do surveillance, and that is how they gather intelligence from our country, they go back. It supports organized crime. Now what is organized crime? OC it is called as. Organized crime is a crime which is done by an organization. An organization means a proper hierarchy is there. These are the punters on the ground which are committing the crime. If they get caught, they are trained in such a way that they will not reveal their master's name. If they get caught, they are trained in such a way that they will not reveal their master's name. So an organization like structure, if that organization is indulging in any criminal activities, that crime is called as organized crime. Largely their crimes are economic in nature, like drugs, selling of arms, smuggling, all these are done by organized criminal groups. Example, Dawood Ibrahim, he is involved into multiple activities like selling of drugs, selling of human trafficking, So this organization is there. It is very difficult to reach at the top for the security forces, because the ones committing the crime here, at times they do not know that whom they are working for, they are just working. So this organization basically helps to sustain their criminal activities. and that is called as organized crime. So it supports organized crime because it is instrumental in transferring drugs, it is instrumental in transferring I would say arms also. Then challenges to anti-terror operations. Then our police agencies and all, they have multiple anti-terror operations in place, and this drone basically challenges those anti-terror operations. So by intelligence gathering it can, by attacking it can, so those anti-terror operations are basically nullified. Challenges in tackling drones. Conventional radar systems fail to detect small flying objects. They interpret or misinterpret these objects as birds also, they can. Okay. So this is there. Currently border forces in India largely use eyesight to spot drones, means by the naked eye they keep on monitoring and they spot and then they shoot them. Shooting these drones is very difficult also because they fly at altitudes difficult to target, and technology to disable their navigation, interfere with their radio frequency or just fry their circuits using high energy beams have also been tested by DRDO, but none of these has however proven to be foolproof and is not deployed as a technology with our security forces. India's anti-drone technology, what we have developed. India's DRDO has made some investments in anti-drone technologies such as Aditya directed energy weapon, DU it is called as, and laser dazzles. The laser beam will fry the circuits of these drones and they will stop functioning. Then DRDO's counter drone system was deployed for VVIP protection. We have deployed it also at one or two stages, like the Republic Day parades of 2020 and 2021. We used this kind of technology which helped us to survey or to do surveillance with respect to drones. Former US President Donald Trump's visit to Motera Stadium, Ahmedabad, that event also we did that. Namaste Trump it was called as, 2019 it was. Okay. We deployed that technology over there, but again it is not foolproof, so the security forces have not yet adopted it. Hyderabad based technology R&D firm Gene Robotics has designed and developed India's first indigenous drone defense dome called Indrajal. So that can be deployed in the future. Next is Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. What is DRI? It is celebrating its 65th founding day, 5th 6th December 2022, that is why it was in news. This is the logo of DRI. Is the premier intelligence and enforcement agency on anti-smuggling matters. What is smuggling? Smuggling is like when you bring products from other countries, when you import them, you have to pay a duty, you have to pay import tax on that. But if that product is bypassing, if you are bypassing by paying that duty on the airport, that act is called as smuggling. There are some legal goods which are smuggled like watches and all, but illegal goods, so definitely they are smuggled, you cannot pay taxes on them, you will get caught. That is smuggling. So it gives intelligence inputs on anti-smuggling matters under the aegis of Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, Government of India. It came into existence on 4th December 1957. The DRI with its headquarters at New Delhi has 12 zonal units, 35 regional units and 15 sub-regional units. The mandate of DRI, it is preventing and detecting cases of smuggling of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, gold, diamond, precious metals, wildlife items, cigarettes, arms, ammunition, explosives. Basically, for all these items, it has to prevent and detect any smuggling is happening or not. Taking punitive action against organized crime groups engaged in therein. It can take punitive actions also. It is not only intelligence gathering agency, it has the powers to take actions also. DRI is also engaged in unearthing commercial frauds and custom duty evasion. So this is about DRI. Next, a factual information, International Cheetah Day. Now, this International Cheetah Day, why I have covered, because cheetahs were reintroduced in India this year. So, UPSC can be tricky on this aspect as well. It can ask nothing from the reintroduction of cheetahs, but yes, it can ask from International Day of Cheetahs, which is celebrated and worldwide. December 4 is marked as the International Day of Cheetahs. Now, International Day of Cheetah and Wildlife Conservation Day, celebrated at the National Zoological Park recently. December 4 is marked as International Cheetah Day every year. The day is dedicated to encouraging people worldwide to help this animal win the race against extinction. American zoologist Dr. Laurie Marker is credited with creating International Cheetah Day, founded the Cheetah Conservation Fund in 1991, and she designated December 4 as the International Cheetah Day in 2010. So, from 2010 we are celebrating December 4 as the International Cheetah Day. Now, a new term, the Lusophone, it was in news. Basically, Lusophone countries are those countries which speak Portuguese. Portuguese, Europeans, they in I would say the 18th century, 19th century, these people were traveling all across the world and making colonies. Like in India, Goa was one of their colonies. I think there were many other colonies also all over the world of these Portuguese. In Africa, there were many colonies. But what happened? After the Second World War, the Portuguese withdrew themselves from these colonies, but the people kept on speaking Portuguese. Like for example, Brazil, majority of the population speaks Portuguese. So, this is basically Lusophone countries are those countries which have Portuguese as their official language. So, we will see into this. Now, India wants to engage with the Lusophone countries, and there is a setup also, there is an agreement, there is an arrangement also through which India engages. But after 2014, India has started to engage with the world very aggressively, and when India has started, it has benefited India also a lot. So, when we are engaging with the entire world very aggressively, why leave the Lusophone countries? Why leave this section of I would say the countries? Although we have individual relations with these countries like Brazil, we have individual relations with them, but under the ambit of Lusophone, we do not have. So, we are establishing that, and for doing that, what happened? With this realization, India's engagement with the Lusophone world, India is hosting a 4-day cultural extravaganza in Goa. The International Lusophone Festival kicked off on 3rd December at the Raj Bhavan in Goa. The Lusophone countries, the Lusophone world are countries that speak Portuguese as their official language and were colonized by the Portuguese. So, if I talk about the Lusophone countries, Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, Portugal, Guinea-Bissau, East Timor, Equatorial Guinea, Macau and Cape Verde. Many of these are in Africa. Brazil here, Macau, Timor-Leste. Now, in this map, you can see red colored countries, you can see blue colored countries, you can see yellow colored countries also. Official is red color, only Portuguese is official. Yellow colored countries, Portuguese is co-official. Blue colored countries, Portuguese is secondary, but Portuguese is spoken over there. Okay. Now, with 270 million speakers, Portuguese is the 6th most spoken language in the world. Even after the collapse of the empire, that is the Portuguese Empire, corresponding countries continue to exhibit both cultural and political affinities expressed in the existence of community of Portuguese language countries. Like we have Commonwealth established where all those countries are there, 54 member nations are there of Commonwealth, where all those countries are there which were colonies of the British once. These people, the Portuguese, have this, the community of Portuguese language countries. Okay. The CPLP, Community of Portuguese Language Countries or Lusophone Commonwealth, was founded in 1996 in Lisbon, Portugal. Apart from Portugal, Angola, Brazil, Cabo Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Portugal and Sao Tome and Principe were founding members, while Timor-Leste and Equatorial Guinea joined later. India joined CPLP as an associate observer only in July 2021. India is not a full-time member because India does not have Portuguese as its official language. In fact, India does not have any official language or national language. We do not have. We have multiple national official languages, like we have 22 official languages which are there in Schedule 8 of the Constitution. Portuguese is not one of them. So, we are not full-time members of this particular grouping, but yes, we have Portuguese speaking people, particularly in Goa. Okay. Because that time around I would say hundreds of years ago, Vasco da Gama was the first Portuguese who landed in India. CPLP started 3 key areas of action: political and diplomatic cooperation, cooperation in several areas, promotion and dissemination of Portuguese language. And a significant achievement is that these 9 Portuguese speaking nations signed agreements to facilitate cross-border movements of their citizens for any purpose. Means it is easy to get a visa for these Lusophone countries. Now, India and Lusophone, the first Portuguese to land in India was Vasco da Gama, 1498 was the year. Though the India-Portuguese relationship can be traced back to the arrival of Portuguese in India about 500 years ago, but bilateral diplomatic ties between Government of India and Government of Portugal started in 1974 and 75. While India will continue to pursue formal bilateral agreements or engagements with these individual countries who are part of Lusophone, but CPLP provides an opportunity to forge a Lusophone partnership, Portuguese speaking niche diplomacy with the member countries. Basically, we are focusing more on Africa because these CPLP countries are largely African countries where we can work on education, we can work on healthcare. That is why we have become an observer member in this grouping. Observer members are those members which do not have the right to vote, but they can participate in whatever meeting is being conducted by that grouping. Next piece of news is Elalite and Elkinstantonite. Elalite and Elkinstantonite are basically 2 new minerals which have been found, and these minerals were found from a meteorite. Meteorite is a celestial body, and this meteorite landed in Somalia. Basically, the sun is there, then we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn and all. So, there between Mars and Jupiter there are a lot of meteorites. These are heavenly bodies, rocks which are there in this belt. So, one of the rocks, it landed on Earth thousands of years ago, and it landed on Earth in I would say Somalia. It is a country in Africa, and this meteorite is called as El Ali meteorite. It happens, in India also there is this Lonar lake in Maharashtra, which lake has been formed by falling off a meteorite. Meteorite fell, it did that deep, I would say, depression, and in that depression the water was filled. So, multiple places it has happened, and one such meteorite came in Somalia. Actually, formal discovery of this meteorite happened in 2020, but people from centuries, it is known that from 4 or 5 generations, people in Somalia are worshipping this particular rock. Actually, there was a mining company which came across this meteorite, and it was transporting this meteorite to do some research work and excavations, and then it was stopped by government of Somalia. Then the world came to know about this meteorite in 2020. It was stopped by, this incident happened in 2020. So, formal declaration that a meteorite fell in Somalia hundreds of years ago was made in 2020. But did this meteorite fell in 2020? No, it fell many years ago, because it is believed that 4 or 5 generations of people in Somalia are worshipping that meteorite already. It is the 9th largest celestial rock found on Earth, and it is over 2 meters wide. The meteorite came from the asteroid in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. This is this belt it came from. Okay. About the minerals, these 2 minerals which have been found have been named as Elalite, and it is after the town where the meteorite crashed. The town's name is El Ali. And Elkin-Stantonite. Elkin-Stantonite after the planetary scientist Lindy Elkin-Stanton. In 2022, scientists from University of Alberta identified 2 new minerals, these 2 new minerals, in a 70-gram piece of meteorite. The minerals were identified by Andrew Locock and the head of the university's electron microscope laboratory. Now, synthetic versions of these 2 minerals were already developed in the laboratory in the 1980s in France. But International Mineralogical Association rules are there that it could not be approved as official mineral until they were found in a natural sample. Now they have been found in a natural sample, they will be declared as official minerals. There are more than 4,000 minerals which have been declared as official minerals on the planet. The latest, these 2 are there. Okay. But official declaration of a substance as a mineral will only be done if it occurs in a natural substance and not created in a laboratory. Mount Sumeru volcano. Now, Mount Sumeru volcano erupted recently, triggering top alert status. Now, where is Mount Sumeru? Indonesia it is. Okay. And in Indonesia it is located over here. It is on one of the largest volcanoes in the East Java Islands. This island is called as East Java, and it is the largest volcano there. Sumeru's last major eruption had happened not long ago, but in December 2021. Last year, means 1 year. Sumeru, also known as Mahameru, has erupted numerous times in the past 200 years. Now, what are volcanoes? Volcanoes are basically structures on Earth which emit lava from below the earth. How lava is emitted, we will see a bit. It is a concept of geography, you will come to know in geography when you read, but a basic of volcanoes we will be discussing. Indonesia, about Indonesia if I talk about, or volcanoes in Indonesia if I talk about, it is an archipelago. Archipelago simply means a group of small islands of 270 million population living there, that sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire. What is this Pacific Ring of Fire? I will let you know. Indonesia is one of the most disaster prone nations on earth. Which disaster? Volcanoes, cyclones and all also come. With 142 volcanoes, Indonesia has the largest population which is living in close range to a volcano, including 8.6 million within 10 kilometers. Indonesia, with the maximum number of active volcanoes in the world, it is also having the maximum number of active volcanoes in the world, is prone to seismic upheaval due to its location on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now again second time it is being repeated, Pacific Ring of Fire. So we will see what Pacific Ring of Fire is. It is a horseshoe shaped series of fault lines and is prone to earthquakes and volcanic activity. Now we will see it through an image. This is basically the Ring of Fire. This is Pacific Ocean. Okay. this is North America, this is South America, this is Southeast Asia, the Pacific Ocean is there. Now, in geography you will learn that the entire earth is divided into multiple plates, okay? Tectonic plates we call them, like the Pacific plate is here, that plate, Pacific plate, is dominated by waters. We have the Eurasian plate which have Europe and Asia, we have the, I would say, Australian plate, we have the African plate. So the entire earth is divided into various plates, and these plates keep on moving, they keep on moving, and once if they move, they cause disruptions like volcanoes, earthquakes. Like for example here, this in the Pacific Ring of Fire, basically how do these plates move? They diverge, and once they diverge, the lava inside the earth's crust, it comes out, and let's suppose it is diverging here. If it is diverging here, it will be submerging here, okay? If it is diverging, means lava is coming out here, volcanoes are erupting here, it will be submerging here. The effective area under that plane will remain the same. If it is spreading over here, this plate is diverging over here, it is going down against this North American plate or South American plate. So, effective area is not increasing under Pacific plate, but what is happening? Volcanoes are getting erupted. This is called as the Pacific Ring of Fire. Whenever the plates diverge, the volcanoes erupt. Whenever the plates diverge, means when they go down, the earthquakes happen. This is the basic logic. That is why in the Ring of Fire, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are common. The details of Ring of Fire you will be reading in geography. Next piece of news, the tribal knowledge systems. The tribal knowledge system is basically, our president Draupadi Murmu belongs to a tribal community, and she wants the tribal knowledge systems to be part of, or to be, I would say, included in the Indian knowledge systems. To understand this topic, you just understand that the tribal way of living, they know the jungles very well, they have survived for years, they might have got ill also, so they are not going to the doctors to get prescribed for medicines, they are relying on their own techniques based on their knowledge. That is the tribal knowledge system. They know how to conserve the forest based on their knowledge, they know how to conserve the rivers based on their knowledge. So that is the tribal knowledge systems, and the President of India wants the tribal knowledge systems to be part of the Indian knowledge systems. Now, what is the Indian knowledge system? Indian knowledge system is an innovative cell under Ministry of Education at All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE. It was established in October 2020, and it is established to promote interdisciplinary research on all aspects of IKS, preserve and disseminate IKS for further research and societal applications. It will actively engage in spreading the rich heritage of our country. No doubt science has progressed, scientific innovations have been made, but there is some traditional knowledge as well which is important, like Ayurveda is a traditional knowledge which is endemic to India. Likewise, there can be certain, I would say, treatments to certain diseases in Ayurveda which is not there in, I would say, allopathy. So that is why it is important to conserve the Indian knowledge systems, and if we do that, we will make India a knowledge hub. And Draupadi Murmu, the President of India, is wanting that the tribal knowledge systems also should be part of the Indian knowledge systems. Why not? They are also having their separate techniques to conserve the environment, to conserve the forests, separate techniques to of medicines through which they heal themselves. So that should be part of the Indian knowledge systems as well. So, what is Indian knowledge system? We have come to know. What is tribal knowledge system? We have come to know, but we will go into further details of this. Tribal knowledge. Over time, indigenous people around the world have preserved distinct understandings rooted in cultural experiences that guide relations among humans and other things. The understandings and relations constitute the system broadly identified as indigenous knowledge. And tribal knowledge system can be defined as network of knowledges, beliefs and traditions intended to preserve, communicate and contextualize indigenous relationship with culture and landscape. These knowledges are conveyed formally and informally among the kin groups, means from previous generations to the younger later generations. Intergenerational wisdom contained in tribal knowledge systems is passed on to the present times through centuries of experiences and learning. Steps taken to preserve tribal knowledge by the government. First is Tribal Research Institute have been set up across the country with the objective of to act as a think tank and repository of information of tribal communities. And under the scheme support to TRIs, ministry provides funds to TRIs. Then documentation of research of indigenous practices by tribal people is done. Digital repository has been developed by Ministry of Tribal Affairs to preserve, promote rich tribal cultural heritage. Traditional Knowledge Digital Library (TKDL) is a pioneering initiative of India to protect Indian traditional medicinal knowledge and prevents its misappropriation at international patent offices. Significance: contemporary knowledge for nature. If we get, then sustainable production and consumption of indigenous and traditional food can happen. They know which plant to use to build houses, to make tools and weapons, for fuel, for lashing and tying, for basketry, for making temporary hammocks, for dyes, poisons, body paints, perfumes, hallucinogenic drugs and all. They know, and which gives us contemporary knowledge of nature. Then contribution to modern medicine can also be done by them, because they know the jadi booties there in the jungles, which can be instrumental in curing various diseases. Then conservation aspect, if I talk about, they have played a vital role in preserving the biodiversity of the jungles. So they have their own techniques, because the jungle is an intrinsic part of their lives, and they definitely make all the efforts for preserving the jungles, and this is what we want these days as well. So we can take advantage of that knowledge. Disaster reduction. Traditional knowledge has helped to save ancient tribes on India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands from the worst of the tsunamis in 2004. Their folklore talks of huge shaking of ground followed by high wall of water happened, and they all saved themselves by adopting traditional techniques. So this can be instrumental in disaster resilience also. Promotion of integrated learning. Tribal knowledge systems are stored in songs, stories, drama, folklores, etc. Hence it promotes integrated learning for the community, and this can happen through preserving their cultural aspects as well. And we come to the last piece of news, that is the National Bamboo Mission. The National Bamboo Mission basically is a mission, or is a scheme to promote, I would say, use and consumption of bamboo both. The Union Agriculture Minister has approved the formation of advisory group for streamlining the development of bamboo sector. We have this restructured National Bamboo Mission approved by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs in 2018, 25th April 2018. We restructured it, and it mainly focuses on the development of a complete value chain of the bamboo sector. The bamboos are very important. I would say bamboo is a grass, but bamboo is edible. It is eaten by many communities. It is actually used for construction purposes. It is used for environment conservation also. It is very, very important. Bamboo is an important part of lives of people who are growing it, but they are not getting the value of those bamboos. It can have multiple more uses. It can have medicinal uses, medicinal purposes also it is used, and it can be used for strengthening the infrastructure. It can be used for road construction as well. Multiple uses it has. But that is what we want to develop, the value chains for bamboo. We want to create this awareness among people that bamboo is good for use. You can use bamboo for creating furniture and all. So and when we grow bamboos are considered as carbon sinks also, because they are instrumental in sucking carbon from the atmosphere. So and definitely when we buy bamboo from those communities who are growing, we will definitely have, or we will definitely doing an economic impact on those communities. Okay. So this is all what this National Bamboo Mission wants to do. The restructured National Bamboo Mission is a centrally sponsored scheme. Actually, again I'll repeat, government schemes are of two types. First are central sector schemes. These schemes are formulated by the central government and implemented by using the central government machinery only. The second type of schemes are centrally sponsored schemes. Like this National Bamboo Mission is a centrally sponsored scheme which is formulated by the center but implemented by using the central as well as the state government machinery. The funds for implementation are also shared between the center and the states in centrally sponsored schemes. So National Bamboo Mission is a centrally sponsored scheme. Now aims and objectives of this particular scheme. The mission envisages promoting holistic growth of bamboo sector by adopting an area based regionally differentiated strategy to increase the area under bamboo cultivation. We want to increase the area under bamboo cultivation and we want to market it also. We want to do marketing also of it. Under the mission, steps have been taken to increase the availability of quality planting material by supporting the setting up of new nurseries and strengthening of existing ones. So good quality seeds, the planting material it is called as, the inputs should be used. Then objectives to increase area under bamboo plantation in non-forest government and private lands. Those which are not designated as forest, in those areas bamboo plantation should be done. Okay. To improve post harvest management through establishment of innovative primary processing units near the source of production. Post harvest management means once you cut it, then you do what? So for that, for processing those bamboos and all, those units should be established at the place of cultivation only, so that you reduce the transportation cost and all. To promote product development, keeping in view market demand by assisting R&D, entrepreneurship, etc. in the bamboo sector. So that all will be done by the National Bamboo Mission. Implementation, if I talk about the National Bamboo Mission, it is being implemented through the state nodal departments. Since it is a centrally sponsored scheme, so the state nodal departments will be there, which is nominated by the state or UT government which is concerned. The selection of beneficiaries means those who will get benefited by this mission, obviously the growers of bamboo, the farmers. The selection of beneficiaries and delivery of assistance are being carried out by the state bamboo missions or state bamboo development agencies sanctioned at the state UT nodal department for implementing the National Bamboo Mission. Since it is a centrally sponsored scheme, so we are taking into I would say ambit the state governments for its implementation. And we have reached to the end of today's lecture. We will meet for the doubt session in just a while.